The morning didn't begin with sirens, it began with stillness. Engines idled near the fields. Trucks waited, boxes were already loaded. Then the quiet broke. Vehicles stopped moving. Voices lowered. No one seemed sure who had authority anymore. From a distance, uniforms appeared, not rushing, not shouting. Just standing there like the land itself was holding its breath, and in that pause, one thought echoed quietly, this wasn't supposed to happen today. I've spent most of my life around this land, not in front of cameras, not in meetings. I'm the one who unlocks gates before sunrise. The one who knows which boards creak on the old barn floor. Most days are predictable. Coffee in a chipped mug, dust on my boots, the sound of engines doing honest work. I don't look for trouble, I avoid it, but that morning, standing near the fence with my hands in my pockets, I felt something shift, like the ground knew before. We did. Something ordinary was about to become very public. The farm looked the same as it always did. Early light stretched across the fields. Fog still clung to the low spots, slow to lift. Metal gates stood open. Moving trucks were lined up near the gravel road. Their engines hummed softly, like they were waiting for permission to leave. People spoke in half sentences. No one laughed. No one rushed. The air felt tight. Not angry, just careful. Some stood with crossed arms. Others checked their phones without really looking. A few kept glancing toward the road, as if expecting something or someone. The wind carried the smell of dirt and diesel, normally comforting. That morning, it felt heavy. Nothing had gone wrong yet. No shouting, no confrontation, but there was a sense of timing being off, like the day had skipped a beat. And when a distant engine sound grew louder instead of fading away, every conversation slowly stopped. The first vehicle didn't pull in fast. It rolled to a stop like it had all the time in the world. Doors opened. Uniforms stepped out. No one spoke right away. One of the drivers shut off his engine. The sound felt too loud when it died. Someone whispered, "Why are they here?" Another person shifted their weight and took a step back. Not away from the officers, away from each other. A short conversation happened near the trucks, low voices. Careful words, papers were handed over. Read slowly, read twice. I watched faces change, not panic, not anger. Confusion. A moving truck tried to ease forward. Just a few feet. A hand lifted, firm. Clear. Stop. The truck halted. That was the moment it landed in everyone's chest. This wasn't a visit, and it wasn't leaving quickly. Time stretched in strange ways after that. Minutes felt heavy. Seconds dragged. More people gathered near the trucks, not close enough to interfere, close enough to feel involved. Phones came out, then went back into pockets. No one wanted to be the first to record. I could hear my own breathing, slow, too loud in my ears. Another conversation started, this one sharper around the edges. Not raised voices, tight ones. A driver shook his head. Someone else pointed toward the road, then back at the trucks. The officers didn't move. They didn't need to. Inside my chest, questions stacked up. Who called this in? Why now? Why today of all days? The trucks sat there, half-packed, lives locked behind metal doors, everything ready to go, now going nowhere. A radio crackled. An officer stepped aside to answer it, came back quieter than before. That's when I understood this wasn't about a misunderstanding. It was about control. And whoever had it wasn't standing with the trucks. The shift didn't come with shouting. It came with calm. One officer stepped forward again. Same steady voice, same measured tone. But this time, there was certainty behind it. The paperwork was explained slowly, clearly. No accusations, no threats, just facts laid out like stones. You couldn't step around. Someone near the trucks tried to argue, not loudly, almost politely. The answer came back firm, unemotional. Movement was restricted. Trucks weren't cleared. Nothing was leaving. Silence followed, the kind that makes even confident people look down. I noticed hands unclench, shoulders drop, the fight drain out of the air. This wasn't a standoff fueled by anger. It was one powered by procedure. And that was worse because procedures don't bend for reputation. They don't care about history. They don't rush because emotions are high, standing there. I realized something important. The story everyone thought they were controlling had just been taken out of their hands. The energy changed once the decision settled in. People stopped whispering, stopped pacing. Some walked away from the trucks without saying a word. Others stayed, staring at the ground like it might explain things. The officers remained calm, present, unmoved. Calls were made quietly. Messages typed, erased, typed again. No one looked satisfied with what they were saying. The truck stayed parked, doors sealed, engines cold. Now, I watched relationships shift in real time. Trust thinned, assumptions cracked. What had felt organized just hours earlier now looked fragile. Plans unraveled without drama, just acceptance. Nothing was officially over, but something was definitely broken. By the time the sun climbed higher, the farm felt different, not unsafe, just changed. And everyone there understood the same truth. Whatever happened next wouldn't be handled quietly anymore. Later that day, the fields were quiet again. Too quiet, tires hadn't turned. Nothing had moved forward. I finished my work, like I always do, locked the gate, looked back once. What stayed with me wasn't the uniforms or the trucks. It was how fast control can disappear when truth steps in calmly. Power doesn't always leave with noise. Sometimes it just stops, responding. And once that happens, nothing ever goes back to the way it was. Thank you guys.